So while Clint sets up, every week or so during this cycle, the three of us would have a call and talk about incoming charms and review processes and stuff. And we have the review processes session already. And for this past cycle, it's been kind of ad hoc. You can submit a charm, and you would tag new charm on it, and then eventually one of us would get to it, and then do it, and then you ping pong back and forth until your charm is accepted, and we type this really dumb sounding command called promulgate, and then you're in the charm store. The summary out of that session is we're going to move to a more Ubuntu based model with like a sponsorship queue, a patch pilot, where people will have assigned days that they'll be doing reviews. So we hope to make that smoother for everybody. What this session is going to be about is, while the team has been reviewing lots of charms, we've kind of started to pick up best practices. In some cases, we put them in a convenience package called Charm Tools, and we just want to discuss ways that we can start encouraging people to use best practice so that when they start writing their charms, they're doing the right thing out of the box, I guess is what I want to say. Yeah. I already have some ideas on where we can start with this.
We left it open to go organically, but I think it might be time to start. You know, we are getting people to the point where they're going like, well, wait, I saw that in this charm, but how do I do this and how do I do that? And that we've left that open on purpose, just to let people explore what's going on. But we really need to start, I think, providing more direction.
I think this is the cycle to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've remained as lightweight as we possibly can, and we should. But we need a little more.
Well, and it's worth discussing in this room, and I think that's a good start. Is should we start becoming more actual, like opinionated, and start making things happen a certain way? I think the answer is absolutely no. A really, really great aspect of Juju is that it supports any script, any shell language you want, any scripts you want to write. It's pretty much the Wild West within a charm. And we want to really keep that, honestly, you know. And then if charms are doing good practices, they get tagged as such in the repository and shared publicly. If charms are doing bad practices, that's perfectly okay. They're not going to be shared in the repository, or they won't. They'll be shared as such. This does with strange licensing things. That's fine, I think.
Okay.
But this set of best practices, I think, is more geared towards the ones that we promulgate, right?
Yeah, sure. But in general, also just usage in general, because it's things like charm tools. Yeah. It's things like providing certain libraries and stuff like that. So we have an option of either becoming more opinionated about it by using Juju to make changes to things, only providing tools to do certain things. Alternatively, we can point. Alternatively, we can point to more, like have really good example charms that we work on and clean up, which I think should totally be an action item out of this, that we point to for certain types of features.
So I've seen a lot of new charms which still have a bunch of the boilerplate templates. So
can you either speak up or come to
come up front, yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of charms which still have the boilerplate template from like the charm helper script create thing.
Yep.
And feels like that should be limited against. Like
it does lint some of it, but not all of it. Yeah, definitely. We can do a lot more with charm proof, and I think this cycle is the time to do it.
Which charm proof?
It's listing. It's the static analysis tool. So if you're writing charms, when you think it's done, type charm proof and look at what it says.
It catches a lot of stuff if you've left the example.
Yeah, and we want it to be more useful. Like right now, I think it's more useful as a gatekeeper.
I was asking
for us, but
I want to see if it was people for easy to add tests or not tests.
It's super easy to. I mean, it's a single thread like of just Python script right now, which is not awesome. I think it should.
It's easy.
As it grows beyond, I think it has like 20 rules. It needs like a structure and modules, and it should be simpler. But really, it's very easy to just add an if in there.
Yeah, because I mean, it'd be almost like not a unit test, but a test.
It's a static analysis. Yeah. That's all it is. And as we come up with best practices that can be detected in static analysis, I mean, one of the ones I do is I look in all your hooks. If you're hitting the EC2 metadata service, that's a no-no. Don't do that. We have unit get for that.
Oh, right.
I mean, you can ignore that, but you need a good reason. Just like with Linty and those overrides for every bit.
Right. And at that point, there probably should be a comment or something saying, hey, I know the right way, this is, I'm doing this for this.
So that's actually something that I would like to see with Charmproof is, if you're doing Debian packaging and use Lintium, it actually has like a really well-defined key
Yeah, the override.
before the description.
Yeah.
And if you plug that key into Google, you get a site that shows you two things, which I think is awesome. One, a good description of what you did wrong and how it's supposed to be. And then two, here's all the other packages in the archive that are already affected with that have that problem. So you can go look and see like where it's okay, and you can see the ones that are overriding that one legitimately. So I'd like to see that with Charmproof, where it doesn't just say everything should provide something. Which
What about
I think is the worst rule.
incorporating Charmproof directly into like something like Charm Browser so we can do
That's the
that
kind
sort
of thing I'm thinking is we need a web service that helps you write charms. And helps you do things in the best practice way.
Wait, I think he was just saying notifications of when they're failing.
Well, no, I would say
He's
he's
saying
saying
print it
incorporate
out.
the output.
He would just
Yeah.
run Charmproof as you import it,
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
would have,
Right.
And then you can see all the other charms which have those same problems fairly easily.
yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be sick.
No way, I put you down for it.
If you do
Yeah,
the
can we-
rich snippet
Yeah,
deal,
put me down for it.
Hazmat, right?
Sorry, challenge those, you guys. What, Brandon?
I said if you do the rich snippet deal too, when you do it, Google will pick it up just like the
Exactly.
dead is, you know.
We can make it a key, kind of resty, where you can click, jujucharms.com/proof/whatever the rule name is, and you'll see, like you said, all the ones affected by it, and Google will
Yeah.
pick that up, and we can actually
Well, you can actually-
have a description for that one.
You can actually add like extra it's like the metadata in HTML. You add a few extra tags.
Yeah.
And like Google will even pick up the right paragraphs and stuff and stick it.
How do we capture this? Where does someone go other than just looking at, poking around in the charm store for things like, okay, you should have an upgrade hook. And a lot of times the upgrade hook is just a symlink to the install hook.
So right now, juju.ubuntu.com/charms is where we have all the musts and shoulds in charms, and that is our policy document. I just discovered last Thursday that is not versioned, which sucks.
Yeah.
It's not
And really,
It's just, we just need to turn on Moyne's versioning.
the list of charms should be sort of superior to that policy crap.
Well,
in that presentation, in my
the list of charms and, I'm sorry, what do you
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get
The
it.
browser's way down the bottom. It takes me forever. Like, if I'm
Oh,
looking
that
through there,
page is just,
I don't know
That
what it
page
is.
needs a lot of work.
Yeah, well, do we want to,
No,
that's
no,
probably
it's-
out of the scope of this
yeah, it's on the web team's
Okay.
radar, like, if you go to ubuntu.com/cloud and you see that professional kind of,
Okay. Should we start going into actual detailed best practices?
Well, here's what I'd like to do with the policy.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the best place to discuss it. I'd like to move those rules into a simple RST document or just a text file or something in VCS that is versioned not only in VCS but in the document.
okay, so.
So
move
let's
rules.
follow behind what we see in Ubuntu and Debian, which is have a policy, have versions,
Strongly typed policy.
strong, just a strongly versioned policy, like
So where do you want it?
Okay, like,
just a bizarre tree somewhere on the
Like
iPad,
in docs?
well, I think Charm Tools is the place to actually put it.
Okay.
But
Yeah, because it'll be.
the docs can work too. It doesn't really matter.
what if it was the RST files you're talking
It
about
should
in
be
the
in
docs, but then Charm
Yeah.
Tools uses those.
That should be in docs.
It should be pulled sometime.
I'm fine with docs too. Docs is
Well, I was saying like the RST files, I was talking about, the actual meat of it would be in the docs.
Yeah.
But then the Charm Tools uses that data
Right.
to do what it needs to do.
Exactly.
I have a simple item I'll assign you if that's okay.
yeah.
I think we can get a lot, so the Charm Create boilerplate, just simply by, this is the install hook, here's the chapter in the docs that you need, and a link for each hook on where, and it goes right to that thing.
That's awesome.
And James Page was telling me he was having things like people would run an install hook and it never exited.
Yeah.
Somebody did one that was like interactive, like, maybe saying, you can do what you want in here, but really you want this hook to be idempotent, and a link to what that word means.
That would be awesome.
You know, just like links to documentation in general. I think would be a good
It
start.
could only be.
Yeah,
No, that's,
item codes and
that has
Wikipedia.
come up.
So I corrected the Wikipedia
You guys
definition.
notice
Isn't there drugs
classes
for
of
that?
services that could all benefit from the same templating? So right now I'm doing, I'm creating a charm for an image building service, which kind of looks structurally like Jenkins. So I'm using the Jenkins charms kind of as my guide on how to do it, especially for those relationships. So it'd be nice if there's basically like classes of services that you could.
That's really important.
Right.
We've totally been purposely ignoring it and leaving it open at the moment. And I believe our way of handling that is sort of, we talk about tagging charms in the repo with respect to certain aspects. And I think we could do categories that way over time.
So there's actually an open bug on charm tools for scaffolding type of command, and have them be domain specific.
I want a lamp stack.
So yeah, what I want to do is type charm create dash Django or dash testing app or whatever. Like there's a few
That would work?
there's a few patterns with charms
Okay.
that are repeated, and we can pull those out of the charm and into a scaffolding type tool. I'd actually rather, this is a way bigger thing, I'd rather have inheritance, where I can say this charm
Yeah,
extends that one, but that's like a huge, like, let's do that in Juju 3.0 or 4, right?
Well, yeah, but that's also a best practice. What are we recommending people do when they need to specialize a charm away from
What-
charming a store?
It's
It's not just splicing it though, for now.
See, that is
Yes,
just splicing it
it
right
is.
now, and we can talk about that in 6 months.
So there's no reason I can't pick each class, like a, you know, if you want a lamp stack, this is the one I want you to look at. You know, if you're doing a job one.
That would be really useful, I think.
Yeah. So-
Sort of, what do you call them?
We have an item right
Tools
now.
grow it, yeah.
Canonical charms?
Yeah, or just
Principal
like-
charms with
Magic
examples.
words.
Here we go, here we go.
Lucky charms.
Well,
Pick better
that.
Okay. we
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm calling
Dibs on yellow moon.
them flag bearers, because that's flag bearer charms.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, we do need good examples.
Yeah.
Right.
The Jenkins charms have all
Sorry.
ensemble stuff in it.
Yeah,
So
you
that
got
would be
Jenkins
scrubbed.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few you still have really old.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, I mean, like, so old they don't.
So one way we can do this is we're what, at 70 something now? Oh, no, more than
74.
74.
They're not over 100.
We got a new batch that haven't been promulgated yet because of the contest, but,
Well, this is what I was thinking.
so it's more than what the immediate team can do. So
78.
This goes back to what, we had a thing on charm store maintenance where it's about getting maintainers. So we'll add a maintainer field in the metadata so you start owning your charm.
Sure.
And if you wrote it, you still have the ability, you're in a group of maintainers to do that. And then we figure out what goes on as far as
We haven't,
push
yeah,
Well, I
rights.
think we can probably do both, like Debian does. You know, you've got Debian maintainer and you've got a Debian developer. Developer can push to any of them that's proven.
Oh, it
as
is.
a
that's
charmer.
charmers.
Yeah,
Lightweight,
and then you've got the one that's approved, which is maintainer,
yeah.
you know, or the
That's-
equivalent.
Okay.
you know.
I mean, we're really trying to keep it as lightweight as possible because it really.
Well, that gives somebody that
This is
only wants
new.
to not worry about reviewing and all that can push to their own and, you know,
Yeah.
still have that. And
Right.
then, you know, you've got the group of charmers that does like,
Well,
Everything, you know.
so I have an action item here, clean pictures, this is in charms with respect to best practices. I cannot do that. But if we start getting maintainers, I can, any orphans or orphan process sort of thing, then we can start cleaning that up.
Yeah, you have to work on it.
Getting rid of the word ensemble in a lot of these.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Well, and we can, right now, so if we, whenever we charge, or choose to start requiring the maintainer, you know, whatever that timeline was or whatever, you know, just from that point forward, or, you know, from that point back, we just go off of who was the person that committed it or tried to. you know.
So just to back up on that, because we're kind of unilaterally doing that without much discussion, but,
Right.
because we've always said we're gonna need to have maintainers, we just haven't done it yet.
Done it,
But, we got kind of the +1 from discussing on the mailing list to add the maintainer key to metadata YAML.
Right.
So the next step is actually
Do it.
doing that for all the existing promulgated charms. And before that, we want to put that in charm proof, and we want to put that in charm create, so that we automatically have it. What's that?
The docs.
And the
And in the
documentation.
docs.
Does that have to be individual or can that be a team?
What's that?
Does that have to be an
So what I'm gonna do is copy, again, Debbie's rule, which is that you need to have a mailing address.
Yeah.
You know, an email that you can receive email at. So, yeah, if it's a team mailing list, that's great. Actually, it's fantastic.
Don't you already have the information about where it came from originally?
Yeah,
We do.
but we told people that they don't have to be the maintainer if they didn't want to, but we also told them they could, so.
Well, we didn't explicitly tell them one way or the other.
Well,
We actually never did say that you don't have to be the maintainer.
Wouldn't it be worthwhile to have both?
Or a couple people.
Find out where it came from. Would it be worthwhile to have both maintainer and like the original bizarre branch that it came from?
Oh, that'll be the first guy I mailed. Yeah.
That's who's gonna get the email. Like if you
The majority
got a
of
charm,
commits.
sure you're gonna get an email probably from me in the next few days saying, I'm going to add you as a maintainer of this. 9 out of the 12 commits or whatever, and the other ones are all charmers. So I'm gonna use some heuristics to discover who should be the maintainer and give people a chance to opt out. But otherwise, you submitted that you're gonna, because the maintainer is not it is somewhat of a responsibility, but it's more like I want to give you the respect that you deserve, so that when you submit a merge proposal, because you don't own the charm, we just merge it. Like, once over, no root holes, merge it. It's sponsorship the same way
Right.
in any other
Is
system.
that gonna come with, I mean, I don't care either way either, I just wanna make sure, is that gonna come with like, BinMUs or whatever, whenever?
So Charmers, basically, it's going to be more like Ubuntu, and that Charmers is going to do all kinds of.
Yeah, your first contact, but anybody can do whatever.
What we're going to do is try to make sure that we understand what the maintainer is up to with the charm before we change anything.
Sure, yeah, that's what I mean. Whoever the maintainer is first contact,
Yeah.
but if, something's not gonna be held up because they're unresponsible.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is you're going to be the person who, if you've got a branch in progress, we're not going to crap on it.
Yeah, you step on something, right.
That's all. But yeah, there's definitely going to be.
Okay, so
Is it worth spending time on detailed best practices here for charms?
Sure.
Or should we jump to Juju best practices? Because
Well-
those are actually different.
Wait, 1 second. So you're gonna determine the fields and then basically come up with a list? And then Brandon, you and I are gonna catch the outliers and the ones that don't respond.
So that-
Okay, sorry, I just wanna make sure the work
Yeah,
items are
maintainers
understood.
will be assigned.
Okay.
That's the key.
So the maintainer would be in the metadata again.
In metadata YAML, and hopefully at some point jujutcharms.com will show that as well.
What happens if I just add that field to my charm? Will it
No.
work?
Ignore it.
It'll work.
Oh, okay.
They're ignored.
Okay, so we can start being proactive now.
Yeah, you can
like-
absolutely.
Mine, I'll just go by and just do that.
Yeah, I've actually got a commit on mine that is waiting, so I'm just gonna add it to that and do mine.
So the maintainer field is primarily important for the official charms.
Yeah, we're going to require
So otherwise it's
official
already
charms
attached.
going forward.
So that'll be part of the test you're gonna do before you promulgate, right?
Yeah, it's going to be improved. Proof's going to say you must have a maintainer. It's going to be an E level.
Pretty much has to be there as soon as it moves away from a personal branch.
Proof doesn't need it, because if it's a personal one, it doesn't matter.
Well, then we just allow
But
none.
proof is not for
value.
personal charms.
Yeah, but we,
To the store.
you still wanna be able to
The list of
run
shit you need to
personal
do.
charm though, because all the other goodies that are in there, you don't want it to fail on
Yeah,
that.
it's kinda
Just
not-
allow a none value, but
You gotta
they
run-
can't be in the store with a none value.
That's fine.
Like literally the word none, in the maintainer field, in case it's a personal one, so you get all the other goodies in charm proof. But we don't allow it in the store with a none value.
Yeah, and
Charm proof
to
is a
be,
short circuit and an error.
charm proof also is error, no copyright file. Like, who cares about that for personal charms, right? Like, it's best practices. It's not, does it work? Best practices, a lot of them are around whether or not it'll work well, but we can classify them later as we make charm proof more rich. I think we should classify the rules a little bit more, but I don't think we have cycles for that right now.
Okay.
So you asked the question, should we talk about specific charm best practices? I am curious to hear what people think are the source of truth for best practices now, because I'll say, I mean, the list in in the charms policy, to me, is the only good non-like example source right now.
Look for recent versions of certain people's charms.
See, that's all examples are great, right? But if I say just look in the charm store, there's a ton of crap in the charm store already. So
you gotta.
We need to pick the flag bearers. Are there other sources of truth that people use or think are good or bad?
Tests.
Right now, tests.
That's a separate topic that's later. This is scheduled for later today, but I mean, we already have automated tests that we could surface and make more visible the results of.
Look at So we have tests.
Test practice.
Yeah, basically look at the green balls, ignore the red balls. So.
We need to
require functional tests.
That's what I'm asking. What now do people know? So
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just that, and then on the reviews, that's the other thing is, you'll catch stuff in reviews, and if you see somebody else's review, then,
I picked up a great point right now. I've been going through, and occasionally I'll see another review, and I'll see something, and I'll privately mention, hey Marco, by the way, everybody does have to do start and stop for the charm store, even though it doesn't seem like it matters. The studio doesn't do anything with it. We want to have it there. And that's come up a few times.
I think it's actually buried in the doc somewhere. I was trying to find it yesterday, where it says it can be empty. It says you need the file, but it needs, or it can be empty.
It's not official policy, but that's what I'm getting at here. Is official policy is great for like the reviewers to look at that and go, yeah, check. Okay, it can go in. Right. But there's more. There's way more stuff that's coming out in reviews. Yeah. Some of the reviews have some of the best information possible. I see stuff from James, I see stuff from Marco that I'm like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. We should write that down somewhere. Where should we put those?
Well, can we,
in the version, in the file in the docs, in the Bazaar branch somewhere.
Well,
we can
I think in docs is good.
We can continue to add to it.
Can we open up the community wiki a little bit too? Because I realize, yes, the front part of that we can't because it's locked down, but can we somehow?
No, it's either one or all. I've already investigated.
That's what I'm saying though. Can we get another something, some
Ask a bunch.
Or ask a bunch.
Ask a bunch is good.
A potential for a short-term fix, but I don't think the official best practices for charm should live on that.
No.
Actually, that's horrible. No, that won't work.
Yeah, it needs to be a short.
Wiki.ubuntu.com/Juju best practices for now, and then we'll.
Wait, I'm sorry. I actually don't like to encourage wikis ever. I feel like they just grow and grow and grow. They seem awesome in the middle.
Oh, I want to delete them all.
But they grow and grow and grow and die and rot. And they're not, like, we saw this with Upstart. Okay. Upstart's wiki is a tragedy almost. Like,
all right, well then let's do this.
Hang on, let me finish my point. So rather than wiki, I'd like to see us gather the best practices in one place that's reviewed and is a single place that has more of a gate on it than wiki. Not much, sure. But this much. Like what we have now is the docs branch, which I don't know if everybody realizes is owned by Charm contributors, which we will add you to if you ask.
Yeah.
So there's a Charm-contributors team in Launchpad has to be in. You can edit the official documentation for Juju. I mean, we're going to revert your crap if it stinks, but like, let's put it there. That's what I'm trying to get at. Let's put it there. Let's put it in docs.
And then you don't already know the markup or anything.
Follow the wiki, it's bad.
What's that?
There are already people trying to follow the wiki, and like it's out of date because it's in reference charm store, and they're like trying to like.
Which parts of the wiki don't?
There was something on. I saw it come up in one of my Google searches for Juju, like some Ask Stack Overflow question or something.
Yeah.
No, he fixed that.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible to get
Alexi stuff?
Updated documentation on Juju.com? I know there's differences between what you actually get from that branch and what's actually available.
That's a 15 minutes refresh from that branch.
15 to 30 minutes.
So if that's out of date, then there's a.
Interesting, because I saw some typos and I did some prepping and they weren't, they were definitely not, they looked like they were a page of in the actual code, but not published.
So this is really confusing.
Sorry, what was the question?
The documentation looks out of date to me.
Hang on, we got a little, okay.
The number on the question.
LT,
yeah,
like the Launchpad Juju trunk /docs, completely out of date. The series docs, which I don't like that has named the same as the directory because now some tools don't do that right. We need to delete the directory in the charm. The series is the one that juju.ubuntu.com/docs is building trunk.
Do you
I think
understand
we,
what you
for
said?
all, for everything, we need to have one source of truth.
Agreed.
So,
The one in the trunk needs to be deleted.
Yeah, but. so
Let's
we're
just
gonna
do that,
change
because
the
now we're gonna
docs
have-
series though? I mean, we're gonna roll it over, have a.
No, not a series of Ubuntu. This, so
Okay,
the
so,
Juju
okay,
project on
okay.
Launchpad,
Okay, so
there's
the
3
Juju
series.
series.
There's trunk, go, and docs.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking you were saying, or
No.
you were referring to the, yeah. No, that makes sense, the other dude, yeah.
We,
Man, I
but
don't
it,
even know
yeah, the
docs
one
had a
that's editable.
series.
Well, Juju has a series, that's what I'm. no,
So anyway, let's make the docs series of the Juju project the source of truth.
And I'll actually add it.
I'm up for that, yeah, I agree with that.
I'll actually.
Too many
put,
people saying, but
in the
I
docs,
followed
though,
this,
to-
kinda doesn't work.
Or, the way for people to edit the docs.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
Page on,
idea.
Yeah.
We did that in the Start Cookbook and it worked great.
Yeah,
Here, click here, file a bug, or join that team.
Right,
Ooh,
yeah.
I did that, you can move that from Ask Ubuntu actually.
Yeah, that should be in the docs.
Yep.
Self-editing.
Yeah, just, I'll do it, actually, reboot it on accident. I'll do it here, actually, now.
Can we verify that the docs on juju.ubuntu.com are being pulled from the right place? Also,
Yeah, I'll make
That's
it smaller.
juju.ubuntu.com/what?
flash docs.
Yeah, they're both in the right place.
From the series, not from the trunk?
They're both from the trunk.
What?
They're both from trunk. Not from the code trunk, from the
From the
doc branch.
docs series
Yes.
on Launchpad. Okay, we need to delete the one in the trunk.
We need to
Because it's
merge.
like
We need to
15
merge.
commits behind.
There's some stuff to there, I think, that's not in the other branch.
Son of a. Okay, well, somebody needs to then
All right.
resolve the difference
What
between,
to do for me on that?
yeah,
You know,
single source of truth, but just,
Yeah.
clear out trunk docs.
I didn't even know docs had a series, man.
yeah,
I would just pull whatever. and run.
Clear out, no.
It's the one that's owned by Trunk
docs,
Contributor.
trunk docs for Juju.
Do we belong to the chunk contributor?
yes, Termers is a Trunk contributor.
Kind of a dumb question, but I figured I'd ask him.
Thank you.
Okay, there's also the notion of best practices for Juju itself. Again, it's early, this is free field, we're letting that evolve organically just because it's such a flexible tool. People are coming up with new ways to do that all the time.
That's the good part about it.
Where do we go for that? Right now, he has his scripts, I have my scripts that run it. We'll publish, there's blog posts with it, there's gists, there's paste ins.
Yeah, I don't really
Where do
think
people go
there
for that?
should be an official one, because then it kind of stifles that.
Well, not official, but just like with the charms, right? We're not actually saying, but what we're saying, these are recommendations. These are examples you can point to.
But even that, it almost has to be official, because somebody has security.
But,
You know, I mean, I'm not
I'm missing
saying
something.
it's
You're
a
talking about
really
the-
bad idea, I just think it
I'm
would
saying
slow that
someone
down.
who's new to this entire experience
Yeah.
would benefit from seeing some of your scripts that you use to start up stuff.
That falls under the flag bearers kind of thing,
Yeah,
best
but-
practices. This is pretty good readme, this is a pretty good install.
Well, so maybe that's the answer is it's only in the charm with readmes. And so you're
Kind of, I mean,
should-
I'm okay with it even being there, like we have the flag bearing charms, and they should have like 10-page readmes, that show.
Yeah.
If you are building Hadoop to do this, by the way, do all this.
Yeah, James Page's Hadoop thing, README, is a great
I'm
example of this.
really
Yeah,
happy with
that's
the
actually
README.
the one I point people to. If you want to know how to do a README, James Page.
Yeah.
What, Hadoop?
Yeah, let's toss it up real quick.
Is the readme for it? From
Yeah.
Juju Charms.
Yeah, too much stuff.
This is
One
pretty
file,
cool.
too.
In the
Kind of stuff.
gaps, the little code snippets there are what I'm talking about, right? There are ways for you as a user to start deploying these services in real stacks.
I'm tooting my own
But
horn
you
now.
get something complicated like.
My README is good, too.
You're gonna want to slap Docs.
I'm just messing with it.
Yep. Agreed.
Because, I mean, you get a file that's like 15 pages long.
So are there any action items out of that at this point, or just encourage people as part of a charm best practice
I think
to do a read?
I think this falls in the flag bearing charms.
Creates a blank readme, right?
What?
Yeah.
It does, well, yeah, it does.
So what we do is we say, this is where your readme goes. For an example of a good readme,
Well, it actually
Oh, and
says
inside of the
something.
README file in the charm create,
The charm create, it says-
point to the good README files.
Yeah, because it actually
There's
says
other
right
things
now
there.
that, hey, delete this
You
before
put it to
you
a web
charge,
page,
or
points
before
to
you
the
put it in the
readme.
store or something.
Well, the whole,
I don't want to, I don't want to record a dude that's the best one in charm tools.
no, you're right, single source of truth, just point them to the document.
sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
well, we were just talking about it for the other part anyway, yeah.
So backing real quick, I think this still falls into the flag bearing charms. We need to have a single place that lists flag bearing charms and mentions that their readmes are awesome. And then we'll make charm tools point to that.
Do we have an action item to actually come up with a place for flag bearing charms?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say.
George,
If-
no, you were in.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, is if we gotta have the metadata in there somehow for the,
Yeah, that's
to know the flag
separate
bearer.
one.
Yeah, don't pick them out yet, because we should probably, well,
It'll be
pick them, but
evolving.
we need to then review those.
Yeah.
Really well. and
Yeah,
decide.
it's always gonna be.
So would it be
evolving
presumptive
anyway,
like,
yeah. But,
Klinsman.
okay, but if we need the metadata in there anyway, so the charm tools can know, which ones are the flag bearers somehow. Maybe not in each charm, but, somewhere it's got a list, right? Machine readable list. The store could add, a way to show those is the store could actually show like a big gold star or something beside them, because,
Yeah.
that's how you identify them, is, you got the list, and then, but these cool ones with the big whatever, smiley face, whatever, you know what I mean?
So you want to highlight which, like, good charms?
Are the flag bearer charms, yeah. That's what becomes a flag bearer charm.
You know what, that's a great
Flag
idea.
or something,
I like that idea.
because then you don't have a separate list, you're just using the same metadata the charm tools is using to grab the list.
okay, so we've chosen that.
Single those out.
So we just need to put those in the browser basically, right?
It almost seems that we're gonna have three categories, there's charm contributors, charmed, and we have the promulgated
I'm
ones.
sorry,
and then-
we're getting into implementation details. Pick a place, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? We know we need a place. I'm not worried if it goes in the charm browser, or it goes in the docs or whatever, I don't care. Pick a place.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on. So,
Do we need to address new user experience any? It sucks right now.
Especially with Alexa.
It sucks mostly because of the provider that we're pushing as the new, and now, I actually think the LXC the changes from libvirt networking to LXC networking are gonna fix a lot of that.
Yep.
But they don't fix, there's still one huge gap in the user experience for that. Maybe I'm getting into the weeds here. But the download, the initial download, you don't know what's going on.
and just make it interactive.
Figure that out. Yeah, we can make that more
I could
interactive.
make that better,
That's a
but I'd
core
really like to
change.
make it precise
Yeah,
also.
even if,
Because
I agree.
I can get rid of, I
agree.
can simplify it, make it work with nested virtualization and all kinds of stuff. But I need to go to precise. So
Do we have bandwidth and can we make the changes
I have a
to
branch
add?
already which has a good
logging?
portion of this.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and assign that to you.
So the logging part is a little tricky, but doable.
Single log.
there's another
release
That's fine.
Ken has.
I can log it to the machine and I can log it to the console.
Yeah, only-
Yeah, well, and Marco showed us, there's another log that, actually shows a little bit of it, and, up to a certain point when it's building that image or whatever. And if we just put that into the other log, it would show you what the hell's going on a little bit. Just literally correct it or whatever, something.
I'm hesitant to
Actually,
commit too
I'm
much
gonna
to
go ahead
this.
and just make it.
Yeah.
I'll download that image in Bootstrap because I don't, it's just a file I can download over for. So I'm just gonna use the file image.
Thank you.
And I can report back to the console. It
We
won't
can
be async, but.
Do all those things and tweaks and make things a little better, but I don't want to volunteer much of your
Yeah,
time
at
because
all.
I know you have other things to do. And we can't be putting features into the Python. That'll get knacked.
Yeah.
And, well, it's going to duplicate effort for the Go team. Like, we need to make sure that we tell them to do it the new way first before we commit to doing these things, essentially.
Offline, because I have offline.
Okay. Things change fast in UDS.
Yeah.
Well, we had also talked about the e-box thing too.
But I will say, I like your idea too, a provider that is less tied to LXC's coolness and more tied to enabling users to get a good user experience.
So,
And not only
of the
that,
new
LXC
users in the room, read this
Or
week,
on our
for
site.
instance, would, you know, would EC2 have been an option at all?
It just was a less convenient option.
But,
It's actually more.
but it's so much, it's
Because you
such
didn't have it yet.
a better user experience than the local provider.
But people
It's
don't-
a night and
But
day.
people are so used to.
You don't know, I
those.
didn't know that. I just,
Yeah.
oh, I can do it.
People are
Right,
so
no,
used to.
that's
it.
The opposite word, you didn't know.
It's because,
So that
yeah.
We need to fix,
That's our fault, you didn't know.
Exactly.
Absolutely, it's the
Exactly.
fault of the docs.
But people are so
But
used to.
should we
PDOs,
change that?
And they're used to that experience, and they're expecting that when they, when
but
you
you've
say
been
deploy
using this
local.
forever, let the new user give their perspective.
No, I mean, that's what, from 205, that's what I've seen for the last 3 days, man, honestly.
Just LC
Well,
problems.
the LXCs are
Yeah,
really
so
yeah.
most of
What's
them.
really broken
What is,
to me,
and
I
the
guess I
problem
didn't-
is mostly
I didn't
people
know
don't know when it's ready.
talk
Missing
about
packages,
this.
they're not in the group.
One talker,
One at a time,
Oh,
guys.
it's a lip burger.
one speaker.
So when I was following the documentation for the LXC stuff, and I tried to deploy Postgres, and it was pending for like an hour, and there was no log whatsoever. And then I was talking to Scott Moser, and he's like, "Oh, well, did you install cloud utils?" I'm like, "That wasn't in the documentation." So I tried that. I haven't actually followed up with whether that's my problem or not, but that was kind of missing. So had I
That fix
not,
is uploaded to proposed,
that's what I
by
hear.
the way.
But,
But that's-
that falls back into, documentation, we need a single source of truth that we can all look into.
But that's the question. Should we point new users, continue to point new users to LXC and work on improving that LXC
There's
experience
less friction. Stuff.
than going to EC2?
Yeah, if they're already.
Having
I
to
don't know
pay
if
for an
that's-
account,
There's
that
different
sucks.
friction.
The LC is still marked in the, at least in the Juju docs is experimental.
It is.
Go ahead, Will.
I fear that pointing new users to the EC2 usage will have another barrier, which will be the cost.
Cost, yeah, I know that sucks.
option.
Okay.
Yesterday, when I was trying to do Sean, we talked about, honestly, I would have switched to EC2, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much it would cost me or anything like that.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm not sure I want to do at the first day.
No, yeah, it's not a toe in the water solution. I mean, you have to step into EC2. Just anytime we ask people for a credit card and credit themselves. This is why the local LXC solution exists. We know this. And what we don't like is that the local solution, even if it works perfectly, it takes a long time to download a whole video Ubuntu. It takes a long time to install 6 or 7 things in parallel on your laptop.
Great when it's working.
It's
really convenient.
It's fantastic
When it's working.
Yeah.
and I think that it's worth improving. And I think it should be, the goal should be that your first day in Juju is the local provider for any Ubuntu user.
Yes, sir.
But
Make the costs clear. That's what it costs and how to stop.
Yeah.
Everything you started.
Well,
and some of us would gladly pay a small.
Have items right now that'll lessen the time paid associated with LXC. And like I said, once it's working, it's fine. What happens, like when you don't know what's downloading, you cancel it, so you get a screwed up cache, so the next time you try.
Okay, so- George, clarify documentation on what to expect
For Alexi.
Exactly.
when you're using.
use a good word, expectations.
Yeah.
Like, we need to make sure for all of them, expected costs, expected wait time for LXC, where to look. Like one of the things that I do to help me,
Cost.
I expect to see LXC start.
What you see,
What you
logs.
see.
Downloading.
Like if we can tell people to look for the dev bootstrap process or an
It's not going
LXC
to be that
start,
bootstrap anymore.
or
It's just going to be downloading a cloud image.
that's neato.
I had.
That'll make it a lot faster and easy to report for us.
C-groups wasn't mounted at root. I don't know why, it still happens.
Yeah.
And at some point, Juju was just running LXC wait for a container to start,
Yeah.
but the start was failing.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
That's another.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I tried to fix that and I keep passing that flag there. It's an implementation kit, but it doesn't.
What I'm getting at is
It is hanging,
that
yeah.
what George has said is absolutely the right answer to this. We need to show the expectations in a troubleshooting guide type of way. You should expect to see this. Like, you should expect now that you're going to spend 8 minutes downloading the cloud image, or you're going to download, actually the better way to say it is, you're going to download 400 megs or whatever. But, and then if you don't, here's a table of, look here, yes, no, look here, yes, no.
I was at one
And that's
scene with
what we
the
need.
bootstrap running, okay, something's happening,
I got it.
it's blinking and so on.
Yeah,
But
I
then
mean,
everything stopped.
we've heard about 9 ways that LXC fails.
Yeah, that one's the most painful one.
The most
And you know them, right?
I know most of them, yeah.
Good, so you're helping me.
I'd also like to suggest that we include in that, I'm going to be pushing Juju into Debian soon, and hopefully we can convince someone that Fedora and SUSE maybe need it. We have Brandon putting it into Brew for OS 10 users, so. Yeah, well done.
I'm actually
Give him a hand.
building a native one also. I figured out how to do that, to where you can do it with Brew, but if you don't already have Brew, you can have a regular installer.
So, yeah, we even have a native installer, so we should also make sure we're cultivating that even with the local one. I'd like to tell them, here's how to make a VM, or here's where you get an Ubuntu VM that will allow you to do it with the local provider.
I'm way ahead, you already got it built.
Continue, sorry.
No, yeah, I'm done.
Regarding the LXC experience, I don't know if it's technically possible or not, but wouldn't you have a way to take advantage of LXC clone
We use LXC clone, but we have to first create the initial one.
to do like a snapshot? I mean,
We use LXC clone.
We use that, we do that.
We do once it's already built, but the first time to build it, it takes a long time.
yeah, I know, but I mean, when I was doing, I take my example to explain it, but it takes a long time to create the first one, then we're going to create the second one. We want to have many instances running.
Sure.
And so after that, you have relationship and things like that. It would be so cool to say, okay, I want to remove all relationship I did and to come back to the exact one I had at this time. Instead of breaking my wallet, destroying my wallet and my roadmap.
Well, that's not really.
So just destroy the services. How many services are you going to have?
There's a separate tool inside of Charm Runner, which will eventually get into Jiu-Jitsu, which snaps out your environment and does effectively what you just said. It allows you to roll back to
So
a
maybe
previous
something
state.
that might be like, I mean, should be.
It's actually external to, it has nothing to do with LXC. It's
Yeah,
just,
but maybe there's something that can be added clearly in the documentation to say, okay, instead of having to build every time you're 20 minutes or more, or waiting for this thing to happen, this thing to happen, you don't have to do that for once. And then if you stay to the same configuration, you can go back to this point.
Sure,
We just did things.
Yeah, you may not have
Also,
thought it,
by
but
the
yeah,
way,
George is actually.
there's the timing for that sequence. You don't actually have to wait on that stuff. You can just specify it all up front.
Yeah,
And then
I
it
know,
eventually.
I know.
becomes- So you can kind of snapshot that as a script, which is what we're currently doing now for the most part.
I'll just describe that in the limitations and then.
Yeah, that's needed. We
You look
absolutely.
like,
I mean,
you
to have
know,
that-
do these 3 steps, go take a coffee. You know, this downloads about 300 megs depending on your internet
I'm going
connection.
to show the download on the Bootstrap.
You know, the same for events too. Well, like we have those instructions for like, join us at this charm school, and then I'm pretty explicit about, do this before you even get there. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, UDS is probably the best case scenario for that, because we've got theirs right here.
Yeah,
So your downloads are a lot quicker than you would get at other conferences or at home in a lot of cases, so.
The universal
You need to let
message
me know what's going
for
on.
making Juju work is to have a nearby mirror.
Yeah.
Really just improves everything.
I don't know, I mean,
Use
we
the
got
EC2
the mirror
there.
here on premise and it's still pretty damn slow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, part of that is it's a shared Wi-Fi network.
oh, yeah.
Sharing 40 megabits, 12 people.
Yeah,
Times 3 devices each.
Times 3 devices.
I totally understand that, I'm just saying, you know, it's still, That was a little weird, yeah. I wrote Abner, so.
Yeah, that's enough
But
actions,
yeah,
guys.
I mean, I do that.
I'm
both
calling it.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm calling it. What's the time?
We got no shit, we got that many, jeez.
That's a
A
lot.
lot of this is just fixing the docs with, you know what, we should be doing anyway.
Yeah, helping with expectations.
Hey, George,
We have a docs team.
added to the rotation, you know, the schedule, or who's gonna be reviewing?
Patch pilot.
Yeah.
Patch pilot
What was
review
your, what was your
docs.
gesture? Patch pilot.
Patch pilot.
Patch pilot.
Add doc work to patch pilot.
Do they need to get the hammer
It's
to
brutal.
Yes. I got a
hammer.
pilot script, so.
Does anybody want to bring anything else up, just as general charm best practices?
Oh, yeah.
How many people in this room entered the contest? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what term are you working on?
Offspring?
Yeah, that is nice.
What is it?
Offspring term?
Osman?
Offspring?
Offspring?
And so, there's actually one thing that I find that I've been seeing in a few charms, which is expecting data from a remote side in the join hook, which is problematic.
Did you push that already?
Very timing dependent.
Committed yet. Well, nothing's committed
Yeah.
remotely.
Okay.
You have to wait for, if you're expecting data from a remote side of the relationship, look for it in change, not in join.
Yeah, I figured out to do most of the stuff in changed, but, okay, then what,
Join is for instigating.
yeah, what's the join really?
Join is for instigating. So
Okay,
Search terms.
explain it. I mean, I
join is
understand.
for, join is for, I don't need to wait for anything to send the other side something.
But I need to know that something joined. I just don't need to know the information.
Right, like MySQL will create a database for WordPress when it sees something joined, because it doesn't need to know anything about MySQL per se, or WordPress per se. It's going to initiate the communication. But WordPress can't try to look for the MySQL database and join, because that's timing dependent on whether or not MySQL will join first.
I guess I'm asking why I need to put that in there, because as soon as the next hook fires, which would be changed, I'm gonna.
You could do
just
pretty much
throw it all
everything
in
in
there.
change if you really wanted to, yeah.
Well, I guess that was probably just one example. There's probably other reasons to do that.
Like we execute change after join so that people can just do things in change.
Right, but that's why I'm saying, what makes join even good then? But I guess I'll just have to
For
figure that out a little
instigating.
bit.
That's actually a good question.
No, leave it there.
There are
A lot
cases
of this-
where you-
I put out all the
one thing-
information in join, I react to the information that was put out in change. That's
Right,
that's
but there's a
normally
lot of
what I
people
do.
are getting it wrong. So a lot of people are getting it wrong.
Don't
So
all
Join
concerned about
ones
it.
run.
George will fix it in the documentation.
Change.
What am I fixing?
Yeah, that's true.
But
Well, I see a further mistake going on, which
Yeah,
is
that's
people
actually-
expecting the data in changed, which you cannot also expect.
yeah, you need
Because it just gets run.
Yeah, that's probably just more adding documentation for what each hook does.
examples.
Well, I think a key point is that, because we're event-based, works for me does not mean it works. This means it happened to work this time.
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah.
timing bugs in a lot of times.
Yeah.
We expect those, but that seems to be one of the toughest things to get.
Well, I mean, is there a way to fire the hooks in the wrong order?
Well,
Just get
that's
stuff.
the job of the Charmers group, to catch that and review.
Well,
And-
yeah, but I'm kind of asking as a member of the Charmers group.
And the author, of course.
It's not about firing them in order. It's about the other side doing things slower than you expected or faster than you expected. 'Cause
Yeah,
there's races.
timeouts and all.
There's races.
anything really.
There are races. Like
Sure.
change always fires, regardless of whether or not the other side has done anything one time. So
For
there's a
join.
lot of times where you'll see stuff where people are just saying relation get blindly trying to use it. Yes.
Speaking of races, I did a charm and just built some stuff from source and a fair amount of it. And everything seemed to run okay. My log message reported success, but then I had a sim link to nothing, basically. And this was in LXC, so I suspect that there are some synchronization issues maybe in their environment where something completed before something else didn't necessarily go in sequence with my Juju charm. So I'm going to test it in a little while this morning on EC2 and see if it works there. But I may have discovered potential bug.
There is,
Likely.
There was actually another LXC.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually another LXC deal too.
Newsflash, we have
That-
bugs.
That same thing where the
that's not a
roots,
bug
not,
we have.
the isolated root change root, whatever, it was really because it was writing stuff to the real root.
Yeah.
Just throwing the log files and stuff there, it was like, oh.
What? Something
Yeah.
was escaping the LXC?
Yeah, I don't know how it was doing it, but I know the gentleman where it was on his computer. We were supposed to be checking it out today. It was late yesterday, whenever it happened. But yeah, no, it definitely was. It was like, wow. You know, when he said it, I had to look twice. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's certain parts of proc and syslog which will actually go to those.
This session has ended.
Yep.
Room 202 for Juju integration discussion. It
So
should be-
what exactly is that about? Thanks everyone for coming.
That's about
Well,
playing.
it's essentially about Jitsu. It's about Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, okay.
Just about,
What
So in other words, Juju integration.